Welcome back to Grand Tactician the Civil War. This is episode 6 of our Confederate playthrough. We are in September 1861, September the 9th to be precise. We've just won a victory in Missouri, in southwest Missouri, sending the Army of the Mississippi packing. McCullough's Western Army is still waiting on some new recruits, which will take them to about 12,000 men. And once we have them, we're going to pursue the Union troops up into Missouri and see what happens. In the east, we fought another battle in Virginia and again gave the Union a bloody nose in this region here between Fredericksburg and Manassas Junction. The plan now is to move Joe Johnston's army of the Shenandoah back towards the Shenandoah, maybe at Winchester. Hampton Division under John B. Magruder is going to move up and take its place. So the plan as always is to remain on the defensive in the east, certainly for now. We're not going to be tempted into any advancing in the east here at all. We've got this tiny force here, the Army of the Northwest, like about 1,000 men under Garnett. So we're going to finish building this depot and then we're going to push up to see if we can't capture Grafton, Virginia with this unit. In addition, we've advanced into central Kentucky with A.S. Johnson's force, which I've renamed the Kentucky Force, kind of just so I know where it is when I'm looking in the list. So we've pushed into Kentucky with Albert Sidney Johnston and his 15,000 men. Well, 11,400. It will be about 15,500 by the time his recruits arrive. A new division under Van Dorn is on its way. In terms of reinforcements, we really don't have very much available, but we do have a few thousand men from Tennessee available, so we are going to raise a second force in Tennessee and station them at Nashville for now. So let's put this force under Benjamin Huger, I think you say Huger? I'm not entirely sure, even though you would think it's Huger, but I think it's Huger. I'll call him Huger. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But yeah, so we're going to recruit a couple of units into this army force. It's not really an army. Okay, so that's Huger's force, the Army of Tennessee. I mean, it probably won't stay as that, but that's what it is for now. So it's going to have somewhere around 4,000 men, including 2 brigades of infantry from Tennessee. We have Harry T. Hayes' brigade and Alfred H. Colquitt. Backed up with some artillery from North Carolina. So it's going to take a while to assemble those guys. And for now, we are building a depot in central Kentucky to try and supply this force before we push on any further. So without further waffle, I'm going to go now. We're going to get started with this. If you've missed the previous episodes, there'll be a link on the screen somewhere, and there'll be a link in the description, and there will also be a pinned comment with a link to the playlist, so you can go back and watch all the parts that you've missed, basically. It's still early days of the war. We are working on the funding policy, because we are running short on cash. We are at BBB plus for our credit rating. Time's whizzing by here. Not much happening. We're repositioning our army. Disaster at Galveston. So our Navy's lost a ship here down at Texas. That's okay. I mean, we're never really going to be able to contest the Navy, I don't think, if we're being honest with ourselves. The Union Navy is just too powerful. So his Army of the Mississippi is pulling away. We've beaten them twice now in southwest Missouri, but we're still waiting on reinforcements to be able to really push up with McCullough's army here. We've got a brigade under Barksdale from Missouri almost ready. 3 days remaining on those, so we're going to give them some decent weapons. Let's go with a Springfield rifle musket. No, that's not actually. Let's go with one of these more obsolete models, maybe. 1817 rifle. We're going to save those Springfields for another unit. The Army Shenandoah is marching away there. We've got Edward Johnston, who's done a really good job as brigade commander for the last few battles, and he's actually looking really promising in his numbers here. When you're looking at his initiative, leadership, administration, and cunning, looking pretty good. His fame could do with being a little higher, but I feel like he is a good division commander in the making, as is this guy Francis Bartow. He's looking pretty good as well, and Kirby Smith, who will be promoted at some point. We need to be wary of the Union still, because they do have the edge in numbers. I mean, not hugely, but enough to concern us a little. So we're leaving the Hampton Division with just 2,800 men facing the Army of Occupation with about 12,000 men over the river. This fort here, Fort Dick, will have 5,000 men once the recruits arrive. But that is still some way off. Beauregard's Army of the Potomac is going to be about 25,000 men all told once we get those reinforcements in there. Again, it's kind of a case of just we're taking it slow for now. We're waiting on recruits. It's a funny time in the war. I feel we've had some big battles We've had some big battles here throughout the summer, and maybe there's a little lull here, which is not a bad thing as far as I'm concerned, if I'm honest. There's been quite a lot of casualties, quite a lot of death, and our men need a little break, I feel, to get some reinforcements in. Now, we did unlock Militia Act 2, but we haven't really got many reinforcements available. I think most of the units are being topped up with these recruits. We're 15 days away from government funding 1, which should help improve the financial situation. At which point we will move on and maybe go for military 2, or we might work down the diplomacy route here to start working on British intervention, which is sitting on 40%, so it could be better. I feel like the next confrontation could well be in the centre here with this Kentucky force, which is obviously threatening Kentucky. Doubt the Union are going to just let us walk in and capture Louisville, for example, which is obviously a major city up here. In fact, I doubt he's happy with us sitting here in the centre. So we are now suffering with some attrition. That's okay. Hughie's force, once this is recruited, could possibly push up and threaten Evansville or Cairo, Illinois. I believe you say Cairo, not Cairo. Not that I've ever been. But as far as I know, you do. So we will either push towards Cairo, Illinois, or we will threaten Evansville, Indiana, which will also mean we can support Johnson's force here. The Western Army is looking good and ready, as we can see by the green dot. They're sitting on 12,500 men. Still got a few hundred disabled, but that's fine. We're going to push these up into Missouri. Let's see what happens with that. The Missouri State Guard I'm kind of using as a recruiting unit, so we're recruiting troops into this that we're going to transfer into the Western Army, if that makes sense. So we've actually got a battalion of Native American troops already here. It's an artillery battalion. Let's move them into the Western Army. We've also got a brigade under Hindman, which is going to be ready in 5 days. I'm just really keeping an eye on this, because if their troops come down, they do have an army up here. We're not sure exactly what it comprises, but that's going to be 27,000 men, it says. And that will be a problem. Let's have a quick look at the fleets, see what we have available. Again, like I say, I don't think we're ever really going to be able to challenge the Union in any significant way in the fleet front. Certainly not in the Blue Water Department. Possibly in the Brown Water, the rivers. We can put up a bit of a fight. We've got a couple of frigates being built, and we're going to pop them into the James River Squadron when that's ready and see if we can't confront the Union somewhere. For now, we've got the CSS Fulton, which is ready, so why don't we move that into the New Orleans Squadron? So a couple of ships still building here as well. And once we've got these two ready as well, the CSS will push them up into there as well. Same as this, the Bayou City, that can go into here, and we're going to push up the river, see if we can't threaten him. But obviously, in terms of Navy tonnage, we've got no chance of confronting his Blue Water fleet. I don't think anyway, not realistically. So some of these brigades are almost ready. 3 days away for Maxie Gregg's brigade. Let's issue them with some weapons. A plains rifle, yeah, fine. We do have a fort at Richmond, Virginia, but it's only got a tiny garrison. Again, we've got no men really spare to put in there. No, we've only got 3,000 men in total. I mean, we could put more artillery in, but what's the point? Truth be told, it's actually quite nice to have an episode where we're not constantly at each other's throats, so a little bit of time's gone by. We're on the 22nd of September here. So it's given us all a little chance to build things up. The Western Army slowly pushing up into Missouri. It's a bit of a slog to get up there because there's no railroads available. Hopefully nothing. So we've come in contact with him here, but he's he's pulling back and his units are disintegrating. They must have really low morale. We beat this army twice in the space of 2 weeks, I think. Okay, so Hindman's brigade has been recruited. We're going to push them up by transfer again. So we've got funding policy 1. That's good news. So in terms of policy, the options now, realistically, we're going to have maybe industrialization 2, but I don't know. And military 2 is also important, but first we're going to work on diplomacy 1. So we've captured his depot. We've captured Springfield, I think. And they're pulling back towards Rolla, up in the north there. Beyond Lebanon. Maybe we'll keep pursuing them. I don't want to push too fast, because we're already down to 55% supplies. Let's see if we resupply from this depot, or if we can't quite do that yet. Again, we're not in any rush here. Really not. Oh, so his army of the Tennessee, 8,000 men, 60 guns we're estimating, is heading down this way. So maybe they're going to reinforce Missouri. I really don't think he wants to lose the likes of St. Louis, or St. Louis, or whatever you want to say it. So what we're going to do, we are worried about the army of Ohio there, but we are going to... I don't want to push up too far. Again, it's like the supply situation is a problem. It really is a problem, the supply situation. We're nearly ready with these guys. 4 days for the artillery, then we can start thinking about moving him up. So maybe we will actually move Hughie up towards Hartford. We can't. He's on low readiness, that's why. Okay, fine. But out here in Western Tennessee, our little depot is ready. So let's push these up towards Grafton. See if he does anything about that if we take Grafton. He is still just sitting, building his forces up. Yeah, supplies is a problem in the West. So we are waiting for more supplies to sort themselves out. Yeah, his army of the Tennessee is coming into here. I'm not sure what he's got in there. 8,000 men, it says. Yeah, so we're going to move Hughie up. He's going to stay here, and it means we're going to give some support to Albert Sidney Johnson's force. Almost 16,000 men in there. That's pretty decent. Let's get this depot built up. Maybe we'll build a second one actually with Hughie. We're in the process of taking Grafton, Virginia. Right, so he's actually come and attacked us with his army of Tennessee. I'm surprised about that. George Stoneman Jr. in command. Don't know anything about him, if I'm honest. We've got McCullough again with his force. I feel pretty confident about this. I mean, we have him almost 2-1 outnumbered here. We've got like almost 15,000 men, 38 guns. He's got 60 guns, but only 8,000 men. So it's another battle in Missouri. I really thought the battle would come in Kentucky, if I'm perfectly honest. Let's get to it. It's, of course, possible we've got his numbers all wrong. He might have more than 8,000 men. We really don't know. We'll see what he's got. So we're fighting on the defensive here. Let's see what the objective is. The objective is over here, just beyond Wilson's Creek. This is a nasty sort of battlefield. It's got some pretty poor terrain, pretty closed off. Where's the Union coming in from? Let's see. So from the north. So they're going to come in from the north. We'll deploy here. Let him come, see what he can do. Would be on a bit of a hill, in the woods. Possibly will kind of deploy here with somebody back to hold the old White River Road. Let's get on with it. So Forrest Cavalry, going to make up the reserve here. Parsons Division. on the left. We're going to detach Colonel John B. Clark's brigade, which has only got 740 men, and they're going to be part of the reserve. They'll help to plug any gaps that might develop. So McCullough's army, I mean, we fought a few battles with McCullough's army. They've always done quite well. We'll also detach this artillery battalion, because we prefer to have the artillery where it's able to fire rather than at the rear. Okay then. So I've actually ended up putting Clark on the left here, supported by these guns, just in case the enemy tries to cross from the left flank. We'll also actually put some parapets out. So there we've maxed them out. Parapets, if they come this way, there's going to be a bit of an obstacle for them, and these guys are going to have some cover. Let's see what the battle brings. It's 12:17 p.m. I suspect this is going to be a slug between the infantry. We've got Forrest in reserve, like I said. Bushrod Johnson with his cavalry brigade, and James McIntosh with the other brigade. Both have done pretty well, actually, in the last few episodes. So even though Bushrod's only got 653 men, I like his name, Bushrod. It's pretty cool. James M. McIntosh. He's also done a good job the last few times. 6-pounder guns under Ripley, and some 12-pound howitzers there under Woodruff Jr. On the left flank, we've got 6-pounder field guns. I mean, weapons are a bit poor, and more 6-pounders under Ransom. We really don't have much in the way of weapons just now. Hopefully, that's something we can remedy as time goes by. Where's the Union going to come from? They're starting up here somewhere, so they're going to come down here, cross Wilson's Creek somewhere, and take us on. Sterling Price is on the right, Parsons on the left. We can redeploy if need be. I don't want to move Price too far up, just in case they're coming from the left. In which case I would then have to do quite a lot of repositioning, which I'd prefer not to. Pierce's troops, Arkansas State troops, done a good job in the last battle as well. Waitman, being quite dependable. Slack, done a good job too, even though it's only a tiny unit. John Bell Hood had a couple of decent battles. Barksdale, I think this is his first engagement with us. Maybe his second, I can't remember. And Heidemann, those guys, it is their first battle, but they haven't got the little first battle sign. Oh, here we come. He's leading with his artillery again. This is bizarre. See if we can't drive that artillery off. I mean, does he not know we're here? I'm not sure, but he's got to walk straight into us. Maybe they didn't see us, but this is not good for them. More artillery. I mean, this is nearly all artillery. I mean, what the heck? It did say he had 67 guns, but I don't know. Let's send McIntosh's cavalry up onto the flank. Some cavalry on our left coming. I'm fairly sure these are all raw recruits. Let's redeploy Parsons. Don't want to get too close because all those batteries of artillery will... Oh, they're away. All the batteries of artillery would definitely do some damage to these skirmishers. But what else can we do realistically? So we're going to move up Hood and we're moving up Pierce. And we're going to fire on this cavalry coming through the woods. Here comes his infantry. 1st Brigade, brand new, 3,000 men. So he's kind of raced ahead with his artillery. I'm not sure why he would do that. Seems a bit daft to me, but, you know, here we are. It's the 15th of October, by the way, so time has definitely moved on. We've engaged his cavalry. I wonder if he hasn't got the range here. Pierce's Arkansas troops are armed with Mississippi rifles, which gives some decent range. John Bell Hood getting himself in position. They are armed with reboard muskets. They are actually rifles, I believe. Smoothbore muskets of all types converted to rifles. Yeah, so they're kind of hodgepodge rifles. They'll do. His calves in trouble here on the left. Their right, our left. Foolish move again. Can't really get much of a shot off with these guns. His cavalry's fleeing. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move Pierce up through the woods. And we're going to strike into the flank. Oh, Waitman's been suffering. We've got some people at the door here. I'm not sure if the mic's picking it up, but the dog's going crazy. If it is picking it up, then apologies for that. A bunch of my son's friends have just arrived, making a real racket. Oh, here we go, we're in some combat. So I think they had more men than it estimated. But I also don't feel like they've got any stomach for this fight. They're going. They are pulling out. Let's take advantage. We're going to get that cavalry forward. Charge them down. Charge them down. Yes. So this is, again, we've absolutely destroyed the Union in this battle. It was poor coordination from him, poor everything, really. Not good at all. When I do the next campaign, I will have to stick this up onto the hardest difficulty. This is on, I think it's on hard and mediocre aggression, but I don't know. I know his troops were raw, but we absolutely destroyed them there. We've got 81 casualties. So a minor victory against Major General George Stoneman Jr. McCullough victorious again. We lost pretty much nobody, 81 casualties to his 1,050, and they've lost a bunch of their guns. I mean, this was craziness, really. I mean, what can I say? Another win in Missouri. It can only help our cause of getting Missouri to secede from the Union. Hopefully we'll be able to capture St. Louis really soon. We're going to push up and certainly try. I have to say it was pretty stupid of him to come and attack when he was outnumbered and he pushed into my men, had his artillery in the front rather than trying to bombard us. I mean, it just really didn't work out very well for the Union at all there, but, you know, we'll take it. We can do without losing troops, that's for sure. Victory at Springfield, Army of the Tennessee, fleeing in panic. Lieutenant Colonel Robinson loses face. Difficult for me to say lieutenant. We say lieutenant here, as you probably know. So it's my natural way to say it. So they lost 1,052 men, 170 killed, rest wounded or missing. We lost 81 men, 29 killed, 12 missing, and the rest wounded. Morale is determined. Supply situation mediocre. Captured 200 rifles and 29 guns. So can we upgrade? Oh, McCullough's got a perk available. We are going to go with flying column, maximum supplies plus 50%. That's quite a handy one. So you can carry more supplies and you march a bit faster. There's going to be a lot of marching out here in the Western Theatre. But ambulance corps is also a good one. So the speed reduction for wounded soldiers, minus 25%. Mortality rate of wounded, minus 10%. So more are going to come back into action. Balloon Corps 1. Let's have a look. A hot air balloon and someone crazy enough to take it up under fire. Order delay. Intelligence gathering plus 25. Foot cavalry. Forced march speed. I don't like forced march. Mountaineers. There's lots of things to choose from here. We're going to go with flying column. Pierce is also another man who we might have for a division command at some point soon. Slack, not so good, but he might get there. He's doing a good job with these little brigade there. We don't really have much to replace him with. I mean, we've got one set of Parrott rifles, 10-pounders, and one 12-pounder Napoleon. I don't really want to give them out to this Western Army. Not sure why exactly, but I just don't. We've got 7,000 men available total, but not enough to scrape together a unit anywhere. 1,000 men in Tennessee, close. Okay. I feel like it's nearly time to wrap this episode up. We've sent the Army of the Tennessee packing. It's given him a chance to keep refitting his Army of the West, which is the second of... There's 3 of his armies in here. He's got the Army of the Mississippi, which we've sent packing twice. Army of Tennessee, which we just defeated. And the Army of the West we defeated earlier as well. So there are 3 of his armies here, so we've got to be a bit careful. And we absolutely do not have manpower to throw away at all. So we've got this force in the centre here, the Kentucky force, 16,000 men, but the Army of Ohio up here, we think has 25,000, so that would be a hard fight, even if backed up with Hughie's 4,000. Supplies, we are suffering a little with supply, but we are remedying that, building another depot here and upgrading this one. The depot at Nashville is now actually a double depot as well. It's twice the size as the usual one. So that should be helping with supplies flowing up towards our forces in Kentucky. So Kentucky, yeah. This was the plan all along. So we're going to push into Kentucky. We're going to push into Missouri. We're going to take it slow. There's no point rushing things. We've actually... I think we've taken Grafton. No, we're still in the process of taking Grafton. We'll be settling into winter quarters really soon. It's the 15th of October here. This was a bit of a lull episode, but it's been quite nice to be able to build things up. Definitely handy to be able to do that, that's for sure. We're still waiting on so many recruits to arrive, working on policies. 8 days away from Diplomacy 1, but that'll be for the next episode. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hope you enjoyed the little battle there. So we do have regular content on this channel. It's every couple of days there's an episode of Grand Tactician, and almost every day I will do an episode of Crusader Kings, which is at the moment my favourite game to play along with this one. So if you like this sort of content, remember to come and subscribe, like, comment, you know, all those kind of good things that help channels out, especially small channels like my own. Been going about 2 weeks now with regular content. The channel is a little older. I made a couple of historical videos earlier, but I've only just started making gaming content for the last 2 weeks. Something I've been thinking about doing for a while, but just kind of never got around to doing, but have now. So yeah, thanks to anybody who's subscribed so far, and of course I appreciate anybody who subscribes going forward. So we do have regular content, don't forget, come back for more. I hope you enjoyed this episode. In the next one, we'll be pushing up into Kentucky further, into Missouri further, and we'll see what comes of the Eastern Theatre. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Catch you later, and ta-ra for now.